Alright, it's time to track down this wild goose, or in my case, duck. EGR Valve, this motherfucker. I don't know if it's bad, but it's really fucking annoying, because when I drive down the road and let off the gas, it makes this very strange and annoying quacking noise. And it's interesting, but I'm pretty sure this is my issue, so we're gonna change it. The EGR valve is the exhaust gas recirculation valve or some shit like that. Its job is complicated, and I'll explain how. It makes your engine run colder by pumping exhaust gas into the intake, and you're gonna go, wait, what? Exhaust gas is hot. How's that going to make something cold? Well, something about the atmosphere. 21% oxygen, 79% nitrogen. Oxygen burns, nitrogen don't. Your engine needs to run as hot as possible without producing harmful emissions such as oxides of nitrogen. Oxides of nitrogen are produced from high compression and high temperature when oxygen and nitrogen combine to make very harmful oxides of nitrogen. So what the EGR valve does is take all that exhaust nitrogen and put it back into the engine to displace the oxygen, which means that there's less oxygen to burn and resulting in less heat overall. And that is supposed to cut down on your oxides of nitrogen emission. So if you have a high NOx emission failure, your EGR valve might be to blame, which is strange, but I think that's how it works. Anyway, enough science. On to the dismantling and removal and breaking. We got ourselves the T40 Torx and 2 Torx bolts, which are going to be a bitch to get to. But I'm going to see if I can take them out. This is going to be fun. Sometimes in tight spaces, you got to get creative. That's the fun. So here's my setup that's going on right now. I have a long extension T40 Torx right there, because it's real thin, so it can squeeze between the EGR wall and this bracket for the throttle cable. So that's a 1/2 inch. So I had to use a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter there, along with a flexi joint and a little 1 inch extension, so that I could fit around the brake booster, because the brake booster kind of gets in the way. So now I can turn the bolt. They're not under a lot of pressure, so you don't have to have 1/2 inch. If you got a 3/8 they'll fit in there, go for it. I do have a little 3/8 right here, but the problem is this has got such a thick body it can't fit between that gap. So that's what you need the long extension for. So, let's take that fucking thing out, man. Once you loosen the bolts, the valve just kind of falls right off. Jesus. Gnarly, dude. So if you're wondering where the EGR tube goes, it goes from your intake manifold to your exhaust. That's literally right where it routes to. So that's all it does. Just takes your exhaust gas, opens up a valve, and throws it back into the intake. Pretty simple stuff. There's the finger dinger down there. Alright, pull it off the vacuum tube and you're good to go. Alright, I used razor blade to try and scrape most of the old gasket away. I was lucky, a lot of the old gasket came off with the valve itself. As you'll notice, there's a lot of carbon buildup, as one would expect for something like this, but I mean, that's a lot. That looks pretty nasty. And there's a lot built up in there too. Now a lot of this, I might have something a little more accelerated, because I do burn a lot of oil. 3 of my piston rings are not looking too good, so it ain't all that pretty. I might try and see if I can pick some more out of that hole, but let me go get the new EGR valve so we can compare first before I start picking shit. So there's our new and our old. See, the old's got a bunch of shit in it, and the new one don't. You can kind of see the difference there. Everything else is pretty much the same, really. I don't know. So I guess there's a bit of shit in that hole. Let's see if we can clean it up a little. Oh man, I'm just digging for gold right now. Alright, after a while of using the pick, I got all kinds of tools here. Got a razor blade, got a small wire brush, got a bigger wire brush. I have some of these reverse drill bits just because they're the bigger ones that I could find. I have a regular one, but that's not working too well. I got a pick, flashlight, mirror, all that good shit. After a while of working on that, you should be able to clear all the junk out. I don't know if you can see that well, but this is supposed to be just a straight, same diameter hole that literally goes all the way into the intake. So if you can't see into the intake, or there's just a big black ring of crap in there, then you need to fix that up. So that's just a bunch of black stuff. I don't even know if my EGR functioned, if it did still work. But I find that drill bits actually work really well for clearing holes. You know, kind of makes sense. That's what they're used for, is making holes. You just slide it in there. I can't do this one-handed, but you sit there and you just turn it with your hand. I wouldn't recommend doing a drill, because then you might actually cut into the intake. But at this point, I might have too big a diameter. I might need to go to a standard regular size bit. But just sit there and drill until you can go to the other side. You should be able to put something all the way in there. Like, we're talking, you should be a loosey-goosey hole. Fuck. You should be able to take yourself a screwdriver just all the way in there. No problem. Before, I couldn't even get the screwdriver in there, so try and clean any of that crap out of there before you do this, otherwise your new valve isn't going to do much. Just a little tip. Okay, after a while. Look at that. That's a clean hole. No more black crap in there. Can't do much more about that because that starts to loop down into the pipe, but they're a lot better than they were before. So I can finally fit this 3/4 inch brush in there all the way. This might not be 3/4 inch anymore. It's probably squished, but now I can fit this whole fucking brush in there, and she goes right in nice and clean. So that should be a pretty large diameter hole. So now that that's good, make sure all the old gasket's out. Make sure that there's not a bunch of crap that you left in there. And then put everything back together again. Here's the gasket. So that's what it should look like. So yeah, just pop that in there. Like so. And then the other one goes on there. I don't know why it uses this weird crescent shape. I don't know if that's I don't know what the hell that's for. Whatever. Okay, so that was fun. A couple tips for doing this. First off, back when I did the exhaust manifold gasket, I got this copper spray gasket, high temp crap. It's supposed to be kind of like a high temperature glue sealant stuff. It's just, I use it because it's a little sticky, just barely. So I sprayed that on both sides of the gasket to try and help hold it to the valve. And, you know, then you just kind of go to town, put the screws in there, or the bolts, and then have the gasket on there and get your your adapter and try and thread one screw on, then pivot it up and go through. If your hands are short enough, you can lift up this rubber hose and get underneath from there. Yeah, once you bolt that down, don't forget to hook up your rubber vacuum line, and I'll show you where that goes too. Now this kind of runs a lot farther than it needs to. If you come up here, it goes into this block. It is the middle vacuum line right here, comes out the other side, and runs back behind the airbox to this guy. So that just controls the valve. So there you go. Hook up this guy and we're good to go. Well, now for the fun part. The explosions and the startup. Jesus. It sounds quite unstable, don't it? That's probably all the carbon crap that's probably stuck somewhere trying to burn out. It's like, whoa, what's this thing, man? EGR valve. I'm not used to this crap. smells a little stinky. Starting to smooth out though. Oh wow. It actually just died. Nice. Huh. Well, it might need a little bit of adjusting to get used to the valve, because I don't think it's actually used it in a while. I don't know, but that's a new EGR valve for you. At least now it doesn't quack. I just hope it runs. This is my absolute favorite part. The spraying. I think that's what happens when you give it a little gas. She just got a nice little shit stain. Well, she's a lot steadier now. Doesn't die anymore. We should be good. Oh, there you have it. Wee!